Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are currently bouncing from short-term support, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that these short-term trends will remain intact, which I'll talk about later in the video, so make sure to watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is still running into this important resistance, which is at around 31,000. So once again, we still need to see ideally a strong weekly candle close well above 31k in order to actually confirm a breakout, which as of right now has not yet happened. So obviously this is still the important resistance to pay attention to on the larger time frames, and as of right now, this giant cup and handle pattern, it has completed the formation phase, but it is not yet confirmed. It would only confirm and come into play if we see a confirmed breakout above this strong resistance. But as for the larger trend at play, as I've been saying since the beginning of this year, clearly the larger multi-month long trend is more bullish than bearish, because we're still seeing significant higher lows and higher highs here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart. And on top of that, of course, this super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend here on the larger time frames, the complete opposite to what we saw during all of 2022. But anyway, if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, as we can see here, we technically still have a bearish divergence currently playing out on the daily time frame, as I've been saying over the last 1 week or so. And so once again, this basically means we should not really be expecting a lot of bullish momentum, at least in the imminent shorter term. And so instead, like I've been saying in recent videos here on the channel, I do expect either some choppy sideways price action or potentially a slight pullback in the somewhat shorter term. But remember, all of this is still currently occurring within that larger multi-month long bullish trend. It's just right now, we're basically taking a short-term pause from the larger trend. And if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, as of right now, this is still looking more bearish than bullish. But with that being said, it is not showing as much momentum compared to some of these previous moves, which basically means we shouldn't really be expecting a massive crash or anything in the imminent short term. And instead, we would likely see some more mild price action, basically some choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback, as I've been saying over the last few days. And now, while all of this is playing out in the short term, this is helping to reset the daily Bitcoin RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which can actually give Bitcoin more room to the upside later on when we eventually continue on with this larger bullish trend, considering the fact that the larger trend is still currently valid. And if that happens, if we do end up ultimately seeing a confirmed breakout above that strong resistance at approximately 31,000, then in that case, next I'd be targeting towards around 37,000 based on these important Fibonacci extensions, and also based on the technical price targets for this potential bullish flag pattern. But it is important to understand that as of right now, that 37k price target is not yet in play. It is not yet confirmed. The same as this bullish flag pattern here on the 8-hour time frame. This pattern is not yet confirmed. It's currently forming, but for this to confirm, we would need to see a confirmed breakout above around 31,000 approximately, with ideally a weekly candle close well above that level. And as of right now, once again, that has not yet happened. But just in the imminent short term, what we've seen recently is a small bounce from this short-term support, which is sitting at around 29.9k approximately. And so technically speaking, while the price of Bitcoin is still finding support at this area, technically the price is still forming this bullish flag pattern, basically trading within a choppy sideways price range. So essentially in the imminent short term, if you're talking about the short-term trend, this is basically neutral because we're still in a sideways price range. But if this support breaks, as I've said in recent videos here on the channel, if we see a confirmed break well below this short-term support, then in that case, that would potentially signal more of a short-term bearish trend beginning to form, which could look something like what we saw back here. But remember, even in that case, it's still possible for that to occur within the larger bullish trend. So basically, that's the situation right now. In the short term, we're still looking relatively neutral, but if this support breaks, then we would flip more bearish in the short term, but for the longer term trend, we're still looking bullish. And as for resistance in the short term, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, if this short-term bounce continues, then I would expect some resistance at this area in between around 30.8k to 31k, and above that we also have this level of resistance at around 31.3k. So just be aware of the fact that even though we're seeing a short-term bounce from this support, obviously we still have strong resistance above the current Bitcoin price, so we're not necessarily looking overly bullish again, at least not yet. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is still holding above this ascending line of support, which is sitting at approximately 1890. But as I've said in recent videos here on the channel, if we see a confirmed break back below 1890 with ideally a daily candle close back below that level, then we'll likely see a drop down towards this area of support in between 1770 to 1820. And as for resistance, in case this short-term bounce continues, then we should expect resistance at around $2,000 approximately. And now if you're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, as of right now, these are still looking extremely neutral. First of all, the RSI is essentially chopping around sideways around the middle of the overall RSI indicator, while the daily Ethereum MACD is also chopping around sideways, looking extremely flat, showing very low momentum to either direction, which once again means just in the shorter term, as in over the next few days, we should not really be expecting a massive move, and instead we're likely going to see relatively mild price action in the short term, as I've said over the last few days. And now if you're zooming into the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, once again the price of ETH is still currently trading within this ascending parallel channel, which is essentially a bullish trend forming higher lows and higher highs. Once again, this support level sitting at around 1890 approximately, and this resistance still sitting at around 2030, so just above $2,000. But with that being said, even though the price of ETH is technically still within this channel, if we simply see a confirmed break below this support line, then obviously that would potentially signal more of a trend reversal from this bullish trend into potentially a new short-term bearish trend. But as always, it is important to understand the difference between the short term and the longer term. So even in that scenario, of course, that would flip more bearish in the short term if that happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean the longer term trend is completely over. And now zooming further into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, once again, we have this area of support at the golden pocket in between around 1890 to 1.9k. But if that level breaks, then the next short-term support is sitting at around 1870, and below that I'll be looking towards these previous lows sitting at around 1820 to 1830. And as for resistance in the short term, we have this previous 50% retracement level sitting at around 1920 to 1930, currently acting as short-term resistance. But if we see a break above around 1930, then in that case the next resistance I'll be watching is sitting at around 1950. Above that, then I'll be looking towards around 1980, and above that, once again, that resistance closer to $2,000 to 2030. So at least for now, while the price of ETH is still holding above this ascending line of support, technically speaking on the 8-hour chart, we're still in a somewhat bullish trend. But considering the fact that we still currently have very low momentum here in the daily MACD, it's possible that over the next few days, the price basically chops around sideways, doesn't really do anything spectacular, and it's possible we could leave this ascending parallel channel that way. So those are just some potential signals to watch out for moving forward, but obviously I've given you the situation for now while the price is still in this ascending parallel channel. And now if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is trending trending bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the trend is either bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make a lot of profits very easily in a choppy sideways price range. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.